So The Promised Neverland may have wrapped up with Season 1, but it was also confirmed today that there will be a Season 2 and it will be coming out next year. My theory was it was going to come out in 2021, but 2020. I'll even leave a link in the comments section that does have the confirmation here for your viewing pleasure, but that's nice because I stopped reading this manga 2.5 some odd years ago because I knew this would be the perfect anime for me, and I'm really happy that my journey as being an anime original will continue sooner rather than later. The Great Escape has finally come to a conclusion. There's been a lot of ups and way more downs than anything, and I think just seeing this plan actually succeed, have all three of our characters' plans technically be right and kind of meshed into one, it made me a little choked up. Not crying or anything like that, but just, it made me feel emotional, because for so long, every time there seemed to be a way out, a way forward, everything came crashing down. Isabella, Mama, she kept bringing these kids down. She was the perfect antagonist who, anytime it seemed like they had the trump card, she would pull a fast one. And for the first time, the first true time, they were able to succeed past Mama. And it's simply because of Emma. Emma trusted in the other kids, and in doing so, they put their trust back into her, and they weren't a burden, they were an asset. Unlike what Ray originally thought. Ray thought they would be a burden, they would be weak, they would have to be carried along, but in fact, they were working together. They were training alongside everyone to make sure that they were ready for this escape, that they could toss their ropes across the cliff, to be able to slide across this giant hole in the ground. Not to their death, not to something that would be horrifying, but to a brighter future. And I think Ray's what sells this episode because he's shocked, he's in awe, and he's finally okay with being wrong. That Emma, Norman, they both were able to one-up him, and that makes him so happy because for so long, he thought there was only one way forward, for his main friends to get out alive and him to die, and everyone could. We also do get the confirmation that Phil was in on the plan and how he's going to be looking after the younger siblings for the next couple of years while Emma and company regroup, and it will be up to him to keep them safe, but she will be coming back. I really like that reveal because personally, I thought it was pretty clear that he would be in on the plan. I think he's like the 4th highest scoring student in the school. If we ignore Emma, Norman, and Ray, I think he was next in line in terms of being the most intelligent. So him being a part of the plan, that was to be expected, at least for me, and I figured it was going to go the route of he was going to distract Mama for the time being, and then when she went to look somewhere else, he would take the remainder of the kids. But I thought it was actually way better that it was kind of left up to Phil to make the decision. Do they escape with everyone, or do they leave the youngest behind? And he's like, leave everyone behind, because that makes sense. Regroup, get stronger, I'll look after everyone, and maybe we don't even need you, maybe we'll be able to figure out escape ourselves. And I think him just kind of realizing it all along, it actually does make sense, it's in his character. There's been plenty of times he's walked into situations, and he's acted like just the normal kid not thinking too much, but because he is intelligent alongside our Central 3, he was always thinking about things deep down inside, so I actually liked that reveal and how shocked everyone was, and just building up to really Ray just being like, I didn't think this was possible, but you're right. And something that I like with last week as well as this week is both of our Central 2 right now, they keep seeing Norman. And Norman's not actually there, it's not a spirit, it's just a figment in their imagination of just the essence and spirit of Norman living on, and them having a one-on-one conversation. It's really just them thinking and kind of contemplating about his will, but really it brings him closure and lets him push forward while no longer holding back. It's a storytelling technique plenty of stories use, but I really like that, just having a character who is gone. He's gone from the cast, but he still lives inside each and every one of them, in that his essence and will, it wasn't forgotten. His plan wasn't perfect, but because they have other minds and just personalities and just opinions to work alongside them, his plan wasn't all that was needed. You can bring in everyone, and even though people like Norman, people like Ray thought Emma was a little too clueless, a little too rash, the only reason this could succeed is because she puts full faith into these kids, and they put full faith back into her. They would do that for no one other than Emma, and Emma would never lie about something about Mama or the house, because that's how much she cares about everything. And I think just the buildup of just them escaping and Mama finally arriving, it was such an intense scene, because at that moment you realize, like, unfortunately for her, she is the villain, she's evil, and everything that she's done is wrong, but she's no different than Emma at one point in time. Just instead of fighting back, she kind of just joined the system, thinking that's all she could do. And I think just that final goodbye and her slowly opening up with her backstory, I thought was nice, because there wasn't much dialogue. It was simply just showing that, you know, she had her own Norman, who she lost. and how she eventually got the chance to become a mama and how she got pregnant. We learned that actually Ray is Mama's son, and it was just like this entire buildup. And the reason why like Ray would know the song and why he would know Mama is because he has that memory that can carry on while he was in her stomach. So like it just kind of clicks everything, and you kind of look at Mama, you still hate her, you still hate everything that she's done, but you appreciate the fact that she didn't fight back at that moment. She accepted defeat and said, well, maybe survival for me no longer is necessary. Maybe it is time for you to do the impossible and see where that goes. And her coming back and telling Phil that they escaped, I think she knows. I think she can clue in that Phil was on it, but she's not fighting back against him. I think it's a matter of respect that they were able to do something that she couldn't, because she thought her answer was the only way to survive and give these kids a better life than, because these demons were going to do something, at least let her nurture them until they have to be harvested. And then you have Emma, who just showed her you can escape and you can push back on the system. And I think that's why she's a little both sad but also happy that she was able to be outplayed in that situation. That's at least how I'm reading into her character. But just the music during the escape, holy hell, the emotions were flowing through me. The voice actors absolutely killing it. Ray, he was shocked. He was just in awe of what was happening, and you felt that with his actor. Emma really gave that hopefulness. Some of the kids being scared, you're like, okay, this actually feels like a real group who are going to succeed, but also, for obvious reasons, they're a little scared shitless, and just seeing characters like Ray kind of rise up and not be the cold, hard badass anymore, but be like, it's fine to be loving and nurturing, because I realize that these kids are no different than me or anyone else, that they can be an asset, and him just kind of comforting the most scared child, like, that was very touching. And I'm just glad it worked out. I mean, knowing that we're getting more anime very soon, knowing that we have an entire world now opened up for us, we have a new goal, 2 years to plan out to try to get these other kids safe. Where will the world open up? Who the hell knows? But for being such a dark and gloomy episode on a visual level, it was actually the most hopeful and optimistic episode of The Promised Neverland to date. And for the first time, we can walk out of an episode saying, we didn't lose. We succeeded, and hell, even the main antagonist sort of respected that win, even if it may cost her her own life, because maybe survival for them was actually the solution, and her survival was actually the wrong answer. I think her kind of recognizing that, Mama being like, maybe I was wrong, maybe this is the solution, I think that was very, very nice. Obviously, if she does survive, I don't think she's going to be giving up anytime soon, but still, that's what I like to see with The Promised Neverland. They're always throwing twists and turns your way, always kind of exploring everything. Why Phil was always wandering in, why Phil always thought he knew a little too much, well, we got the answer now. This entire arc was so perfectly executed that all these little details have come full circle, connecting, and you just walk out saying, why can't more stories be this thought out instead of just pulling things from thin air and calling it a day? If I'm not mistaken as well, one of the biggest sponsors in the production committee for The Promised Neverland is, I think it's the main company that publishes the manga, and because this has been such a boost for the source material, that's why I'm not surprised that this is getting an anime second season so soon, because for how good of an advertisement this has been, I think the fact that the main person pumping money into The Promised Neverland is getting the most benefit, it's not surprising. It'll be interesting to see how many anime seasons they want to go for, and if they will allow a full adaptation, especially because the manga is closing in on its final arc, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully after we get the next season next year, maybe they'll do one bigger season. I don't know how many chapters or how many seasons it truly needs, but maybe we'll get a 2-core after the next season. But still, things are looking hopeful for the anime adaptation, which I'm very happy for, because holy hell, this needs a full adaptation. Cross my fingers that we'll get it. I'm very interested for everyone who watched this week's episode of The Promised Neverland, what everyone is thinking, because seriously, this is probably the best episode. I honestly think so, and it's simply because this episode by itself may not be that great, but we've had weeks of feeling down, depressed, and feeling hopeless alongside these characters. So to have them actually succeeding one by one, not all at once, one by one, I didn't really even feel something could go wrong. It was just that it was nice seeing one child after another succeeding. And by the time Mama reaches there, it's like, holy hell, she can't do anything. She can't go across that wall, she'll die. Once Emma leaps, she's good, and she wouldn't cut the rope. She wouldn't want her to die in that way. You need to protect the brain. Like, that hopefulness, the fact that for 11 weeks it felt like nothing could truly go right, and when we thought it could, the twist came and Mama pulled a fast one. So for me, just that hopefulness finally succeeding, like this was the first time we truly got that feeling, and for 11 weeks we were building up to it, which few anime get right. They try to really string you along, pulling things from thin air, so that's why I think this episode is so strong, but maybe you'll have a completely different opinion, and maybe source material readers will also have a different opinion. But for everyone, anime originals, manga readers, what are you thinking of the final episode of Season 1 of The Promised Neverland? Let me know yours down in the comment section below, and remember to leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and also be sure to subscribe to the channel if you happen to be new. But until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.